Hello, good evening. Welcome to North West Tonight with Roger Johnson. Monday evening. Thanks for joining us. Our top story. More WhatsApp woe for Labour. Her second MP is suspended and 3 Tameside councillors resign after controversial messages. Burnley's Oliver Ryan follows Andrew Gwynn as police confirm they've recorded a non-crime hate incident. Also tonight, remember them for who they were, not what happened. The parents of the Southport stabbing victims speak. Growing up in Blackpool, the girls who are trying to make the town rock for young women. Let me entertain you. The singer Robbie Williams buys Eric Morecambe's famous glasses and pipe at all.
And West really was best today to see the best of any spells of sunshine. A lot of cloud out and about and feeling cold. When will the warm air return? Join me at the end of the programme. I'll give you all the details.
The second North West MP has this afternoon been suspended from the Labour Party over messages in a WhatsApp group. Oliver Ryan, who was only elected to represent Burnley last summer, he's now sitting as an independent, along with the Denton MP, Andrew Gwynn, who was suspended on Saturday. They were both members of a WhatsApp group where racist, sexist and offensive messages were posted. Both men have apologised, as our political editor, Annabel Tiffin, now reports.
It hasn't been a good few days for the Labour Party in the North West. 2 MPs suspended and senior councillors on Tameside Council being forced to step down from their roles. Andrew Gwynn, a government health minister, and Oliver Ryan, a new MP with high hopes of going far in the party, now both out of Labour for now. The Mail on Sunday newspaper revealed the offensive messages on a WhatsApp group, whose members included Mr Gwynn and Ryan and several Labour councillors. In one, Mr Gwynn reportedly said he hoped a 72-year-old woman would croak it after she wrote to her local council about bin collections. He was then suspended from the party and sacked as a health minister. He's been replaced by the West Lancashire MP Ashley Dalton. I've seen some of the original WhatsApp messages and there are thousands of them, many just very mundane. But it's believed that the messages were leaked by another member of the group who left because they said they were disgusted by the content. Then yesterday, North West Tonight confirmed that the Burnley MP, Oliver Ryan, was also on the WhatsApp group, which he'd joined when he was a Tameside councillor. He's apologised and said he regretted not speaking out at the time. But that wasn't enough for Labour and he too has been suspended, which for some in his constituency today was the right decision.
Absolutely disgusting, and he's only apologised because he's been found out.
Well, that's bang out of order, that, isn't it? Bang out of order.
No, I don't think so like that, yeah.
Doesn't bother you?
Yeah, it doesn't bother me.
Then this morning, 3 senior councillors, Claire Reid, Jack Naylor and George Newton, who were also on the WhatsApp group, stood down from their cabinet roles on Tameside Council while investigations are carried out. The Labour Party says it is going to investigate all members on that WhatsApp group, so there may be a few other Labour councillors who'll be concerned about their futures on the council. In the meantime, Andrew Gwynn remains the MP here at Denton, but as an independent. But there are calls growing locally for him to step down and for a by-election to be held.
He should stand down and should be a by-election, I think. He don't deserve to be where he... if he's going to say that about people.
One minute they're saying they're against all these people that anti-Semitist remarks, and next thing they're doing it themselves, like they've done with everything else. They're just two-tier system, that's all it is.
Those comments have been flying around now for over 6 years and nobody in the Labour Party said anything about it at the time or then. There's only people coming out apologising about it now because they've been caught.
The government says the Prime Minister has moved quickly to deal with this highly embarrassing incident. But he has, for now, lost 2 of his most loyal MPs, and there will be questions over standards and behaviour within all areas of the Labour Party. Annabel Tiffin, BBC North West Tonight in Denton.
Now, the parents of 2 of the girls who were murdered in Southport in the attack last July have been speaking about their daughters and what happened. The families of Elsie Stancombe and BB King were interviewed for ITV's Good Morning Britain programme. They say they want the girls to be remembered for who they were and not for what happened to them. As Andy Gill reports.
Elsie Stancombe was 7, BB King was 6, Alice da Silva Aguiar was 9. 3 young lives cut short by Axel Rudicabana in Southport. Now the parents of Elsie and BB have spoken about their daughters.
It was a privilege to be a mum. I was so proud of her. The effort that she put in everything, the love that she gave, not just us, her friends, her teachers, her nature, was so pure.
BB's mum and dad, who can't be identified for legal reasons, want her to be remembered for who she was.
She was a beautiful, funny, crazy, gorgeous girl, and her legacy, it can't be defined by what's happened. I feel like a lioness and I've got to protect my child, and I've got to make sure that people knew that she isn't defined by this. She was pure light. She was pure joy.
Elsie's parents recall the day in July when she went to the Taylor Swift dance class.
We just dropped her off to dance and make bracelets. That's all we did. It was something nice for her to do for a couple of hours, you know, in the first week of the school holidays. And there's lots that's gone over and said, oh, we should never have sent her. But she wanted to go so much. And I think we've spoke about it a lot, and we've said she was in the right place and where she wanted to be.
Yeah, Elsie and all the kids there had every right to be there and every right to feel safe.
But if we hadn't been there, it wouldn't have happened. I might not be here, but I would never have let that happen.
You'd fight to the death for your children, wouldn't you?
Yeah. 100%.
Alice's parents have chosen not to speak publicly at this time. Andy Gill, BBC North West Tonight.
Right, let's take a look at some of the other stories making headlines in the North West tonight. And a Lancashire charity which provides counselling and support for survivors of rape and sexual abuse could close. Trust House Lancashire says it needs to raise £300,000 by the end of September. They helped more than 1,000 people last year. Dozens of raids have been made by immigration teams here, targeting migrants working illegally in nail bars, restaurants and car washes. The Home Office says that nearly 90 arrests were made in the operation last month. The first headliner has been announced for this summer's Creamfields Festival in Cheshire. The organisers said that the electronic act Enema will be closing the event at Daresbury in August. It attracts around 80,000 dance music fans. It is his only UK festival date this year. And I may have mispronounced his name, but I apologise. Dance music is not my forte, I have to say. Now, over the years, we have featured the issue of crime in the countryside many times, and now the rural crime team in South Lancashire has doubled in size so that it can continue to tackle issues which matter most to rural communities. Lancashire was one of the first police forces in the country to have a dedicated rural team and is now leading the way for other parts of the UK, as our environment correspondent, Judy Hobson, now reports.
Meet PC Sean Dolby and PC Luke Gallagher, 2 officers with the South Lancashire Rural Task Force.
People in the rural communities in the countryside feel isolated, so they feel a lot more supported, that they know they've got a team like ourselves that will help them and assist them, and they're specialists in the countryside and in rural issues. Because of the flatness of the land, we have an issue around here of hare coursing. You know, it is the season for it. So what we're just doing, myself and Lucas, we're just scanning the fields. We're just seeing if there's anybody walking out in the field with like a long dog or a sight hound. You know, so you've got to think of the welfare of the hare. These individuals crash through gates, go through hedges, then drive through crops.
We work closely, don't we, with the farmers, the gamekeepers, the landowners, We've all got our personal details.
It's a successful strategy. Since being established in 2021, the South Rural Task Force has reduced hair coursing by more than 60%. Another crime affecting rural areas has been the theft of GPS systems from the top of tractors.
We've been looking at a gang since 2021 that have been targeting those. In the last 6 months, we've arrested 2 individuals and had them charged.
Since the 2 arrests, there have been no GPS thefts in Lancashire.
No issues, no.
No, nothing at the minute.
Farmer John Fulshaw had several GPS systems stolen worth £80,000.
It was a big impact. It's not just the theft of it, it's replacing it.
He says having a dedicated rural police task force has made a difference.
So you've got these guys, just showing the faces around here has put a massive impact into rural crime for us. Fly tipping as well, that's another thing. We've seen a massive decrease in fly tipping.
We're building trust in the communities, and people are seeing faces, which a lot of farmers are very traditional, and now that they've seen us, they get to trust us and they're willing to divulge information to us.
Officers in the task force understand the unique needs of policing rural areas, and the division is now expanding.
Lancashire's over 70% rural, over 20% of our communities live in those rural areas. So it's important that we recognise that there's a difference in terms of their needs, the crimes that happen and the issues that affect them, and seeing the results that they've achieved. So absolutely, we're very proud of them.
Some great results coming up this year, so hopefully people go into prison. So we want to make sure that people don't come into Lancashire think it's an easy target in the rural areas. It is not.
Judy Hobson, BBC North West Tonight in South Lancashire.
Right, we're off to Blackpool next. Known for its tower, of course, its tourist attractions and that world-famous ballroom which stars every year on Strictly Come Dancing. But as you'll know, we've reported this a few times, it's also home to some of the country's most deprived areas. However, this is a positive report. A recent report, though, found that girls growing up in Blackpool face some of the toughest challenges in the UK. Our reporter, Molly Brewer, grew up there, so she knows the challenges as well as anyone. And for the first in a series of reports Molly has been doing this week, she has been to meet some youngsters who are trying to make a positive difference.
Blackpool, a town known for its bright lights and sparkle. But the outlook for girls living here isn't always so bright.
I do feel the tourism does mask some of the downsides, like the poverty and stuff.
It's focused on the tourist attractions more instead of people who actually live here.
Sometimes people are forgotten about.
And many of those forgotten are young females, like 17-year-old Carla and Louise, and Maisie, who's 16. According to a survey by a women's rights group, Blackpool has been voted the second toughest place in the UK for girls to grow up, for reasons such as health inequality, a lack of opportunities and sexual harassment.
If it's dark outside, I will not go outside. I will only go out in the light because I'm scared.
I feel like everyone does have a story of a friend or themselves of either people spiking drinks or feeling unsafe.
But this is only one side of the story. A lot is being done to make a change, starting here at United Youth Alliance, a group made up of more than 20 young women.
Yeah, we could do a poster board. Yeah, it's really positively benefited me because it's made me feel like I can actually have a voice and that there's people who listen to me and are bothered about what I have to say. And I love them all like they're my sisters.
What are some of the things then that you get involved with here?
So currently we are working on the podcast. We have been interviewing different people and we're very excited about that. It's been a long, long journey, but it's going to be amazing.
You listen to some of the young women and they'll say, I'm a little bit embarrassed when I say I live in Blackpool, and we're like, well, why? Why should you be embarrassed when it's good enough for Strictly Ballroom? We're always topping the charts for the worst things, rather than actually looking at some of the real positive things that are happening in Blackpool. And I think that's where we need to start changing some of that rhetoric.
A lot of the myths don't stem from lies. As people who've grown up in Blackpool, it's just strange to see how a place that we thought was so lovely when we were growing up, it's weird to see it so morph so differently when we become older and we start to see the issues and start to think, well, am I really welcome here? So it's important to make it a place where we are welcome.
Do you feel, I guess you are making a difference, and do you feel more positive about Blackpool for I guess, future generations?
I mean, I personally do. I can already see the change, like, being put in place. Being from Blackpool, it's a part of, like, who we all are.
Molly Brewer there reporting from her hometown, from Blackpool. And tomorrow, Molly will meet the girls who were struggling at school but are now turning their lives around. As I said, it's a positive series we're running, talking all about Blackpool this week. Right, let's talk about sport, shall we? Richard is here. Can't really talk positively about Liverpool, I'm afraid, can we?
No.
Because they were on the receiving end of the shock in the FA Cup this weekend.
Yeah, they were, Rog. Liverpool are out of the FA Cup, as you say, after a 1-0 defeat to the bottom of the Championship side, Plymouth Argyle. On a slot made no fewer than 10 changes from the team that had beaten Spurs in the Carabao Cup semi-final a few days earlier, with most of the big stars left out altogether. The Premier League leaders, of course, have a packed fixture list, but it was a selection that backfired.
The FA Cup weaves its magic.
Cup magic that means Arne Slot's magical team is no longer aiming for a quadruple of trophies, with little pointing to an upset before a team sheet showing 10 changes to his starting lineup seemed to upset Liverpool's normal rhythm. A selection the boss defended.
These players need game rhythm as well. For them to be ready in the upcoming months, some of these players really need games like this.
Liverpool certainly have a packed fixture list, with the Premier League leaders also in the knockout stages of the Champions League and the Carabao Cup final. But with a team full of young, largely untested players, and without most of their big stars, they came up short at Plymouth, with the Reds undone by a handball from Harvey Elliott that led to a penalty and the only goal of the game.
Here's the shot. What a...
Liverpool's senior players did almost make their mark in stoppage time, but first Diogo Jota and then Darwin Núñez found home keeper Conor Hazard in superb form.
Credits to them. Goalkeeper made 1 or 2 good saves in the end, but yeah, we hardly created anything at all.
It was, though, a flat way to exit a competition that Liverpool have won 8 times.
Maybe a little bit of a surprise that he gives so many players a day off, and we love the FA Cup and we want to see the team go far, but we also understand that, you know, a league title, you know, is something else. You know, Liverpool have only won 1 in 30 years, and we've got a really good opportunity of that. They're already in the Carabao Cup final. I think it just becomes a point for the manager where he says, well, something's got to give somewhere.
With the Merseyside derby, the last ever at Goodison Park, next up for Liverpool, it's a decision that Arne Slot will hope will pay dividends against Everton on Wednesday. That will be big, won't it? Talking of Everton, and Blackburn Rovers are also out, but both by 2-0 scorelines. The Blues to Bournemouth, Rovers to Wolves at Ewood Park. And Blackburn, meanwhile, say they've reluctantly given permission for boss John Eustace to speak with Derby about their vacant manager's position. In a statement, they say they're extremely disappointed with the timing. There was better news in the Cup, however, for our 2 other Championship sides, with Preston North End needing a penalty shootout to break the deadlock against Wycombe at Deepdale, and Burnley's new loan signing Marcus Edwards scoring on his debut in a 1-0 win at Southampton. Manchester City joined United, who beat Leicester on Friday in the 5th round with a 2-1 win over League One's Leyton Orient. The Blues will now turn their attention to the small matter of Real Madrid in the Champions League tomorrow night. To the Women's FA Cup now. Manchester United, City and Liverpool are all through to the quarter-finals. United after a 6-0 thumping of Wolves, City a 3-1 victory over Leicester, and Liverpool a 2-0 win at Rugby Borough. The National League side pushed the Reds hard, but 2 late goals were enough to see them safely through. Everton lost 4-1 at Chelsea. And in the men's EFL, there were crucial wins for some of our teams chasing promotion. In League One, Stockport County continue their excellent run of form with a 2-1 victory over Barnsley. County are 4th with only goal difference keeping Bolton Wanderers out of the playoffs. Here they are after they came from behind to beat Crawley 4-3 in Stephen Schumacher's first home game in charge. And in League Two, Salford moved back into the playoffs after a 2-0 victory over Tranmere Rovers. A little bit edgy for Rovers as well. All of our Super League sides are safely through to the last 16 of the Challenge Cup. After the weekend's action, they'll be joined by the Championship's Oldham Ruffians, who beat Barrow Raiders 42-4, and Widnes Vikings, who beat North Wales Crusaders by 26 points to 20. Great to see those 2 in the draw, Rog, which I think is at the weekend.
Brilliant. Rich, thank you very much, Rich, with all the sport tonight. Right, now we're going to show you something we've shown you before on this programme. It's been to Bolton, Ulverston, Oldham, Preston, Liverpool, And now to the Isle of Man. It's a giant illuminated sculpture of the moon. It's called Museum of the Moon, actually. It's opened at Peel on the Isle of Man, where organisers hope it will be a boost for visitor numbers at the newly refurbished cathedral. After there, it's off to Spain and San Francisco. So just a quick chance for Ashley Tracy to get a glance.
It's been seen by more than 20 million people in the likes of China, the United States and India. And now this giant sculpture of the moon has landed on the Isle of Man.
It made me feel like I could be the first child to go to the moon.
It's spectacular that the island has this here.
A lot of people saying amazing, some saying it's huge.
The Museum of the Moon artwork is about 6 metres across, which is about 20 feet, and is made up of really detailed images taken by NASA from space.
Many people on the island will remember the Gaia artwork, which was a sculpture of the Earth that was on display in Douglas last year. Now, the Museum of the Moon is by the same artist, Luke Jerram, and he says he hopes that the piece can be enjoyed by everybody.
Hosted by Cathedral Isle of Man, it's a chance to get up close to the moon whilst it floats in 3D.
And of course we can see the far side of the moon, which we can't normally because it's always the same face that comes to us. I hope people will also take away a sense of awe and thinking about things that are beyond our normal life. There is that sense of wow when you come in and see it.
The exhibition is one of the first key events to be held in the space since some major refurbishment works here.
The vision for the future is going back to the vision from the past, that it's not for a few old people who might wish to worship on a Sunday only, but the building is for everybody, and we can see its potential for all kinds of things.
The most asked question about the artwork so far? Well, where was that small step for man and giant leap for mankind taken? People here can see for themselves until early March. Ashley Tracy, BBC North West Tonight in Peel.
How much do they know? Well, there's a footprint. Maybe they've put one on. Now, here's a question. How much would you pay for a pair of glasses? I got a pair of reading specs for $6.99 at the post office. Bargain. But these are a little more expensive. The singer Robbie Williams has now revealed that he was the mystery bidder who snapped up a pair of Eric Morecambe's famous specs at auction. The price tag was £20,000. Robbie says the purchase made him cry happy, childlike tears. The rest of us would cry if we spent 20 grand on a pair of specs. Phil Cunliffe has this report.
Don't light your pipe in here, it's not allowed, there's no... Look out, the nurse is coming, get rid of it, quick!
Glasses and a pipe, all part of Eric Morecambe's iconic look and his comedy double act with Ernie Wise. When Eric's widow Joan died last year, their children put up the items for auction. The successful bidder? Robbie Williams. The former Take That singer said they were an early 51st birthday present. Paul runs the official Morecambe & Wise website. He says he's pleased that they've gone to a good home.
I think it's really good that a well-known person has bought Eric's glasses. They're not going to be squirreled away in a cupboard for grandchildren who probably won't even know Eric. And he's come out and made a statement that he loves Eric, so it's really good that he's putting it out and showing everybody's got them.
The lot cost Robbie Williams £20,000, more than 5 times the estimated price. He joked with his wife that he was going through their children's inheritance as the bidding climbed. After winning the bid, he said, "You see, I guess we all need friends that we never meet from off the telly. Eric has always been mine, an uncle of sorts."
And £20,000, that's a lot of money, isn't it?
A lot of things were expensive in that auction. And again, that shows just the love of Eric and Ernst. Somebody wanted a personal possession of Eric's just so they could be closer to him.
More than 800 of Eric Morecambe's belongings went under the hammer. This oil painting fetched £15,000. His ventriloquist dummy, Charlie, went for more than £6,000. His OBE sold for £11,000, and this watch, £10,000. Eric's family hope that they've all gone to fans, Robbie included, to keep Morecambe & Wise's legacy going, to bring more sunshine. Phil Cunliffe, BBC North West Tonight.
Fantastic, £20,000, a lot of money. Now, if you were watching, I think last week, you might remember that Kay said that people could get in touch and have their place name put on the weather map, because it's the one thing that everyone always gets in touch about. So we had an email, well, we had lots of emails. One of them in particular, it was quite short. It said, "Please, could you put Netherley on the map?" It's from Michael. Love you loads, he wrote. He also wrote, "You and Roger, the best double act on the telly." Not quite Morecambe and Wise, but that's bribery, isn't it?
And it worked. Michael, it 100% works.
Yeah, so Netherly's on the map, is it?
It's on the map.
Just for a week. You'll put them on for a week and then take them off, put somewhere else on?
Yes,
okay.
And just bear with me. So if you're going to email and say it all looks a bit messy, I've got to squeeze it in. Netherly's a big word. So, Michael, for you, and if you've never heard of Netherly, then Michael says it's home to the Liverpool driving range, the golf driving range, and a huge home bargains.
What's not to like?
Hey, I love it. Michael, thank you. Let's look at your pictures from a very cold Monday. Bella Vista in up Holland, Lancashire, lots of cloud. Now, over the Pennines, we've had bits and pieces of rain and drizzle and some sleet and some snow as well. Isle of Man, the best places today were coastal parts of Cumbria and the Isle of Man. It's here where we had some glimmers of sunshine. It'll stay like that as we head through tomorrow. Thank you for sending in your photographs. You can join me on socials if you want to, or become a BBC weather watcher and send those pics in. I'll try and get them on the telly. So this week, it's going to stay cold right throughout the week and into the weekend. I'm sorry, cold easterly winds with rain and drizzle at times, wintry showers, especially over the tops of the Pennines, and it's going to stay cloudy with some hill fog. If we look at the pressure sequence, you can see now we've got this cold easterly Scandinavian air and it's going to stay with us. It keeps the fronts at bay. And actually, we're not going to see much in the way of heavier spells of rain until we get into the end of Friday. And then temperatures will ever so slightly pick up by a degree or so. Overnight tonight, we continue with this theme of cold, cloudy, showery outbreaks of rain, drizzle and sleet and snow. Could get a good couple of centimetres over the tops of the Pennines. Like I said, driest conditions towards the coast, lows between 1 and 4 degrees. So there could be a patchy frost for some tomorrow morning. And again, it's going to be a cold, cloudy start with the best of any brighter spells heading towards the coast of Cumbria and Isle of Man. Elsewhere, a lot of cloud, and it's going to be thick enough to produce a few outbreaks of rain and drizzle. Temperatures between about 2 degrees to 7 degrees. The winds will still be gusting around 20 miles per hour. They'll start to ease down as we head through Wednesday. High pressure still in charge. You can see the fronts are trying to come in, but they really don't make any progress because of that cold easterly until we get towards the end of the week. So really, it's going to be like Groundhog Day. As we head through Wednesday, we are going to see a fair amount of cloud, and at times it will be broken, like I said, once again, along the coast, the best of the bright spells, but on the whole, a lot of cloud. It's going to feel cold. The winds won't be as fresh as they have been, but temperatures are going to struggle to get above 7 degrees. And that's really then how it stays as we head towards the end of the week. And later on Friday, that's the risk of some rain. That's your forecast.
So what nwt@bbc.co.uk is the email address?
Yeah, I want obscure places.
Really?
Yeah.
But with short names?
Ideally short names.
But you have to say something nice about Kay, obviously, otherwise you haven't got a hope of getting...
And welcome to bribes and gifts.
Yeah, that's a joke, by the way, just in case the bosses are watching. Have a great evening. Good night.